Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and welcome you back to the next Smash Brothers discussion on my channel here on YouTube. I've talked about numerous topics so far, numerous characters of why people want them in, whether I think I agree or not, whether I think they deserve it or not, other various topics like the future of the Smash Brothers series and where I think it's going to go after Smash Bros. Ultimate. This topic is something I kind of want to talk about because it kind of comes up a lot of times in discussion and in like the speculation aspect of Smash Brothers and people, talking about what they think is going to get represented in Smash Brothers, whether stages, characters, music, bosses, items, assist trophies, trophies slash spirits and whatnot. Especially like characters and everything. It's like this does tend to come up in discussions a lot. And it does tend to be like a reason for why one character gets in, but another reason for why another character gets in. And people kind of be like, oh, should it be more this or this? And, so on and so forth. And I kind of want to give my own 2 cents on this topic. And I mentioned this once or twice in other former discussions of Smash Brothers here. But this time it's going to be fully this and only this in the topic. And like I always say, it's in the thumbnail. You see the name of the video and whatnot. Well, I do change the thumbnail and name of the video. It's going to be popularity versus marketing slash advertising. I might just pick one of them for the title, but that's the whole like why certain things get represented in Smash Brothers, certain things get this. Now, and some people think it's specifically one or the other and so on and so forth, and I think it's always, my opinion, it's always been a mix of both. It always has been a mix of both, and people immediately jump on like, oh, only certain characters or certain things in Smash Brothers have been marketing and a lot of things have been popularity. I think it's been a mix of both because people tend to think that the marketing and the advertising are straight up just for new games and new characters, like the new Pokemon games, the new Fire Emblem games, and that's the only stuff that counts as advertising and marketing. And reasons why those characters were included was to boost the sales and popularity. Get the to advertise the game they're from so that sales can continue and whatnot. And that a lot of characters in Smash Bros. Were included because they're iconic characters or because people want them and they're requested and they're popular and whatnot. And I think that's a little bit off. I don't think the popularity, I don't think that the marketing and advertising inclusions in Smash Bros. Are only just like the Fire Emblem cast and the Pokemon cast. I think a lot of the newcomers in the series mean something. A lot of the newcomers in Smash Bros. Sakurai include for like a reason, which marketing is, advertising isn't just for like new games. It isn't just for, oh, we want to push this new entity. It's like it could be a new game, but it can mean like they want to push a certain aspect or a certain thing. One thing that came to my mind, and this was back during the Smash Bros. 4, speculation days. This is long, like good for 2020. This was around 7 years ago. There was a YouTuber by the name of ECC Wii, then eventually went on by Red Knight. I don't think he's on YouTube anymore, but one thing he mentioned in one of his videos, and it changed my way of speculating like almost entirely. He mentions that a lot of the Smash Brothers games always kind of represent what Sakurai could pull from the previous generation of Nintendo consoles and what they can get from the current generation. And I started looking at Smash Bros. 64 and Smash Bros. Melee and Smash Bros. Brawl, and I'm like, my God, that's actually kind of true. And it feels like Sakurai kind of went into, when he was making the game. And I'm talking about characters here, but it includes stages, it includes assist trophies, it includes other stuff too. But this is mostly like a character thing, like a roster thing, outside of, say, like retro characters. This felt like it was a pattern. Like Sakurai has a plan and like tries to mold the roster for each Smash Bros. Game to so all the characters fit. So it's a roster, not just a hodgepodge. A lot of the times people, when they speculate and predict for Smash Brothers, they always throw in hodgepodge characters just to make a mashup roster of like the best choices they feel deserve to get in Smash Bros. And they feel should make up the roster. And sometimes those rosters look way the hell out of left field. Like it's like the most random inclusion. Like these characters make sense, but these don't. And it's like it feels like you're mixing like food, like it's like a food, but you're mixing like all these foods that don't go together. Like Sakurai, when he's made the roster, and I looked at the 64 in the Melee, in the Brawl, I saw what Smash 4 was like, and even now seeing with Ultimate, it feels like he handpicks certain characters out that coincide with oh, this character would go with this character, so let's include both of them and represent this franchise like this and this and this and this. And that's where I think advertising and marketing come from as well. It's not just, oh, we need to, advertise Three Houses, Fire Emblem, or the new Pokemon generation, or the newest game out, the newest third-party partnerships we have, so we can market them so their games can sell in our systems, and we're advertising them because they're bringing their games to our systems. I think it's also a marketing strategy and advertising strategy of representing specific types of characters and specific consoles and specific things in Nintendo's history. Because when you look at the 64 game, that heavily represented the 90s. That was a Super Nintendo field roster. That was a Game Boy field roster, and a little bit of N64, given that Link was, Ocarina of Time and whatnot. But it was like a big Game Boy and NES, Super Nintendo thing. Early N64, big 90s. All those franchises represented in the original were big in the 90s. Like, they debuted in the 90s, or they were still big in the 90s. Melee kind of was a big N64 thing with the Game Boy Color. A little bit of Game Boy Advance because they represented Roy, which was what the typical advertising marketing thing is. But everything else felt like it was a neat little package of people that were in characters that were big in, like, the N64 in the Game Boy Color era, outside of retro characters like, Ice Climbers and Mr. Game & Watch, and then including Marth, because he was the original Fire Emblem Lord. They had to include him because he's the OG, stuff like that. And then you look at Brawl. That was heavily GameCube and Game Boy Advance based. A little bit of DS because they include Lucario, but Lucario was also pretty big in the anime at the time and had one of his own movies. So that is impacted and whatnot. They're marketing and advertising the anime in terms of, like, Pokemon and whatnot. And then you look at Smash Bros. 4, and this is when I came to it, I'm like, okay, If I'm following the pattern that ECC Wii set, I'm looking at, and this is when I was speculating the roster back in Smash Bros. 4, I was heavily looking at the Wii, and I was heavily looking at, like, the DS and the 3DS. And guess what? A lot of characters, and pretty much every character outside of retro inclusions in Smash Bros. 4 were from a game either on the 3DS, the DS, or the GameCube. The Wii, The Wii, the DS, or the 3DS. And I'm like, I was speculating on Palutena. She got in. I was speculating on, like, characters from Awakening. Lucina and Robin got in. And Faith came out. And Corrin got in. They brought in new generation of Pokemon with Greninja because the newest generation at the time was X and Y. It was typical advertising for the newest games out at the time, like Pokemon and Fire Emblem, but also even some games that were a couple years older that were big and advertisable during the development of Smash Brothers. Like, they included Kid Icarus Uprising also because that's a Sakurai game, but we got Palutena because Kid Icarus was revived from the dead, and then they put in Dark Pit. And then, Little Mac was included, but it wasn't his classic design. It was the 2009 return of Punch-Out. It was his new design. It was years old, but by that time it was pretty much also on the Wii U Virtual Console, like the eShop and whatnot. And it's just like, advertising doesn't need to be recency. Advertising just needs to be specific about why you're including certain characters in there, and it can represent a certain era of Nintendo or a certain era of gaming. And a lot of people don't seem to like that because they want just the most popular characters. They want the most popular choices. Do what the fans want. Do what the fans want. We want these characters, and they should be in Smash Bros. These characters are iconic. They deserve to get in. And I don't agree with that entirely. Now, does that not impact characters getting in? No, because in Ultimate, we saw that with the likes of Chrom and Dark Samus, and I think King K. Rool. A few characters throughout the series have been included. Even on the original, from the original up to Super Smash Bros. 4, it wasn't always just like picking characters that represent certain things and Sakurai being very specific about what the roster represents and stuff like that. There were popularity picks, and a lot of characters he included were popularity characters. But I think they were included for more of other reasons than just because they were popularity. They represented certain games at a certain aspect, at a certain time during development, which could be advertising in terms of recency, but also advertising in terms of what Sakurai was going for in terms of his vision for the game, and the newer games out at the time, or the retro characters he wanted to include just because they were retro characters like Rob and whatnot, and Duck Hunt. And it's just... people are always so adamant. When they speculate every single Smash Brothers game, they go willy-nilly, predicting the most random characters. Oh, let's put in Geno because, everyone wants him. But Geno hasn't had an appearance in over 20 years. And that doesn't mean he's not going to get in. That just means he could be a popularity inclusion, like a retro third-party collaboration Square Enix Nintendo inclusion. But you're looking at characters like just because they're iconic, they deserve to get in. Just because they're popular, they deserve to get in. They throw a hodgepodge of characters in. And I sometimes see, and this isn't a knock against them, because I did the same thing during Brawl. My roster predictions in Brawl, which was before I even really started speculating in Smash Bros. 4, was complete crap, pretty much. But I see, and I'm not trying to down anyone for their speculation and whatnot. There's a lot of characters that fit this mold that I still want. But I tried to be more realistic with my speculation. That's why when I was doing Smash Bros. 4, I was speculating within the realm of Wii, 3DS, DS for Smash Bros. 4, and then Smash Bros. Ultimate, I was heavily looking at the Wii U, the 3DS, and the Switch. And that pretty much was like, I kind of ground my speculations in predictions into a certain realm so that it's a little bit more realistic. But sometimes I leap out for areas that I feel make sense. Like there's certain, I don't know, I look at rosters from other people and they're always just filled with the most popular characters, the most requested characters, and it's unrealistic. Because Sakurai doesn't just go for popularity. He goes for whatever floats his boat, whatever he wants to include personally, or what Nintendo wants, or what Nintendo feels needs to be in the game, represents a certain era, represents a certain time frame, puts in retro characters because he wants to put them in, or feels they deserve to get in. Certain franchises deserve more representation, certain franchises deserve certain characters to be represented. And that's what I mean by advertising marketing. It isn't just to push a new game out, but it's also to represent a certain era of Nintendo, a certain game that may have came out during development. The development of Smash Bros. Game could be like 5 years, and by the time it comes out, the characters they represented might have been included because they were in games during the first or second year of development. Doesn't mean to be recency, and the games might not even sell, but they're representing and advertising that time frame, and the characters he feels deserves to be included from that time frame early in development, because it takes forever to make some of these characters, so some of these characters are in development for years. And I'm not saying not to have popularity inclusions, because that is a thing in Smash Bros. As I said, that is a popularity thing. But don't make that the whole thing about what you want to speculate on a Smash Bros. Roster. That only is like sprinkled in. Like it's a sprinkle of both. That's the reason why I think it's both. You can't go entirely off of advertising and marketing and picking a certain era, but you can't go entirely off of popularity, or else you get too kind of dull of a roster. I think if you go too much on advertising and marketing, but you get too much of a hodgepodge of bullcrap if you put in all popularity, because the roster just won't make any sense. So that's what I'm saying, is lower your expectations and be a little bit more realistic when you're speculating and predicting. And know that certain characters are included in Smash Bros. For certain reasons, while others are included for other reasons. It's not always about popularity and being iconic. Newer characters deserve it just as much as older characters. And remember that like certain characters are picked to represent certain things in certain aspects of a certain time frame or a certain whatever Sakurai wants to do. And also, it's Sakurai's game, and he can include whoever the hell he wants. He can include, it's his game, he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to put 20 more Fire Emblem characters, so be it. People are going to cry up a goddamn storm, but I'll be happy because I love freaking Fire Emblem, and a lot of Fire Emblem fans will be happy because they love freaking Fire Emblem, and I wouldn't really care. But that means they could also throw in other characters from other franchises too. It's killing two birds with one stone, and you can have both. But like I said, the rosters mean both. It comes from both, and he can include characters from both, and it's annoying to see the people try to dictate why a certain character should get in over another because of this, and they should go for more of a this aspect or a that aspect, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, just be a little bit more reasonable and know that certain characters are included for certain reasons, and it's not going to exclude other characters, but then other characters are included for other reasons, and that's about it. So that's it for this discussion. Put in the comment section down below what you guys think. Do you guys agree with that aspect? Like, certain characters are picked for more advertising marketing reasons, but it's not just to advertise a game to make it sell. It's also to advertise whatever Sakurai wants to include, make the roster look like. Or do you understand the popularity reason? Do you think it should be one or the other, or a mix of both, like I think it is and what I think it actually is? Because technically that has impacted Smash Bros. Before, both reasons. Put in the comment section down below. We discuss it there. My name is SniperSun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. I'll see you all later in the next video. Bye, everyone.